Now, medical teams at the Royal Bournemouth Hospital found out their area will go from a pre-lockdown Tier 1 to Tier 2 next week. During this second wave, they are trying to keep normal operations and treatments going whilst also dealing with more coronavirus patients now than they had in the first wave when we were last able to film them. Some told us today that ending the lockdown in England was silly, and they are dreading what the results of the Christmas easing of restrictions will be like in their wards in January.
Okay, good morning everybody. Anaesthetic practitioner training is planned.
Life at the Royal Bournemouth feels normal today, but with the spectre of COVID still hovering, it's never quite as it was.
The change in the Christmas arrangements, it's something we dread of what's going to happen after Christmas.
2 or 3 more patients could tip you over the edge and mean that actually a whole service has to go down as a consequence of that.
Getting better. Had a few really bad days.
As Dean is nursed slowly back to health, he cares little for new tears. He's in here after just one fateful trip to the shops.
Isolated right from March all the way through. Unfortunately, my wife broke her ankle a couple of weeks ago and I had to do a shopping trip as soon as someone had been out.
Quieter than last time.
So we seem to fluctuate like a roller coaster ride.
We met Michelle in intensive care at the height of the first wave. Back there today, she described the last few months as long and drawn out.
We've seen it as a slow drip rather than lots of patients coming in as we did over the last wave. During this wave, it's been 2 or 3 every few days, but when they come to us for a lot longer than they had done.
Her colleagues fear it's just going to go on and on.
Lockdown's going to end next week. Do you worry about that? I think it's a silly idea. These patients are struggling, and we are looking after them as best we can, but unless the public actually help us out, it's going to continue.
Along the corridor, surgery has begun for the day. Rob's doing everything he can to keep routine care going, so strength and tears are vital.
Anything that's going to reduce the prevalence in the community is going to reduce the prevalence that we're going to be seeing in the hospital. And anything that reduces that makes our life a lot easier, and therefore our ability to care for patients with all the other conditions that far outnumber COVID, it allows us to be able to carry on with that, which is what we want to do.
Which area does this gentleman live in?
Treating both COVID and non-COVID patients brings its own challenges. Acute wards are filling up, but it means Hazel can have her stent fitted tomorrow. She didn't think twice about coming in. It's outside that worries her.
Why can't people just stick to the rules? Why? I know it's a human situation, but sometimes the older I get, the less I like humans, because they just won't consider anybody else.
And finally, there is some key information with regards to COVID-19. Please can you read it?
There's no time to sit around here worrying about what might happen next. There's work to be done in every single corner of the hospital. Emily Morgan, News at 10 in Bournemouth.